everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a brand new speed build, this time doing something a little bit out of my comfort zone. So as I said in the last video, I've actually compiled a list of builds which I really want to do on the channel, but something which I also like to do quite a lot is to sort of challenge myself to do builds that are indeed out of my comfort zone, and doing villas within The Sims 4 is definitely something that I'm not completely confident with, so I felt that this would be a really good choice. So first off, before I get stuck into telling you all about the build, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who entered the free giveaway for a stuff pack of choice, which was to celebrate 15,000 subscribers. I can reveal that 546 of you did indeed enter, and I have selected the winner at random, and I can reveal that the winner is Leslie Jennings. So congratulations, Leslie. I have contacted you via your comment on YouTube. If you could inbox me on Twitter and we can make some arrangements, that would be fantastic. But thank you so much to everybody for entering. I really truly appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for all your lovely comments as well. As always, you just blow me away with your comments and your kindness, and it really doesn't go amiss, so thank you very much. I will also be looking at doing future giveaways as well when we reach important milestones, and as some of you know, I have applied to be an EA game changer, so we'll see what happens. Watch this space. But yeah, coming back to the build, I decided yes to do something that I'm not completely comfortable with. Now, I never ever build in Oasis Springs, and it is purely because it's that kind of has that kind of Spanish feel, lots of palm trees, lots of villas, and it's a really beautiful world, and I do really love Spanish villas, like Spanish type villas, but when it actually comes to building them, not so much. But yes, I thought I'd have a go. So this is Villa Colmenar, and it's a 4-bed, 2-bathroom build on a 40 by 30 lot in Oasis Springs, and it comes in at just less than 254,000 simoleons. So again, it's not a cheap build. I went for the name Villa Colmenar because my dad actually emigrated over to Spain, I think it was last year now, and he lives near a little village called Colmenar. So yeah, it's kind of like when I think of Spain, I think of Spanish villas and things like that. I now think of my dad. So yeah, I decided to call it Villa Colmenar. So being 254,000 simoleons, this isn't a cheap build either. And in actual fact, I decided to do a little bit of gameplay over the last couple of days. I thought I'll start from scratch because I've been talking about it for a while that I haven't really had the opportunity to actually play The Sims for quite some time. So I decided to start a character from scratch to see if I could kind of build up my funds to be able to afford one of these houses. And so far, I'm not doing too bad. Now, I must admit, I may be slightly cheating because my single sim actually met another fellow sim who happened to be a download from the gallery. Now, I didn't know that he had life experience, should we say. And he's actually like aced like the majority of his skills, and he's amazing at painting. So I've just had him like slaving away, just doing these paintings and writing books. And she's actually just given up her job now. She doesn't even have to work. So I think I may be cheating. I think we're up to 40,000 simoleons. So yeah, I'm totally cheating. But you know what? I just thought I will give it a go. And it was just an opportunity really just to have a little bit of a go of seasons, if anything. But I did have to laugh to myself. I've also noticed somebody, I think in the comments, told me about the money tree that you can actually buy from the rewards store, and I didn't even realize we had a money tree, so I might even give that a go as well and see how much we can get from that. But I'm sure I heard somebody saying the other week as well that The Sims can actually play the lottery, but I don't know if that was like a mod or whether that's something like, there's so much I don't actually know about the gameplay of The Sims 4. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of discover all these new things that have come with various latest expansion packs, and I have to say I'm having a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll see how far I can get and see if I can eventually afford, you know, one of these big homes. At the moment, they're in San Myshuno in this tiny little 1-bed apartment, and I'm just trying to amass lots and lots of simoleons so that we can eventually move out and have a family. But, you know, like I say, she married, or she's not married to him yet, but she's met a very kind of well-educated sim who's probably going to get her to reach her dream sooner rather than later. So it's worth me mentioning as well that this isn't a restricted pack build. I know quite a lot of you, I don't actually list the amount of expansion packs each of my builds takes because there's just that many to list now that the description box would just be ridiculously full. But if you have a look on the Sims 4 gallery and you would like to know what expansions any of my builds have actually used, it does list them below the build in the Sims 4 gallery, so it's worth checking that out. But I would say that even though it looks an overwhelming amount of packs that I've used on the gallery, sometimes it may only just be one item from a particular pack, and if you actually download the build from the gallery, they will kind of substitute the items that you don't have with items that you do. So it may just be worth, you know, if you're just missing the odd pack or, you know, 2 or 3 packs, something like that, it may be worth just downloading it anyway to see, you know, it might just, like I say, be 1 or 2 items. So the actual build of this house took me quite a while to get right. I think at one point I was very kind of indecisive about what windows I wanted to use. I went with some of the Seasons windows, but then I wanted to change them up and add in some of the Jungle Adventure ones. So as you can see at the front here, I've used one of the Jungle Adventure windows which has sort of shutters on. Now I remember in one of my older builds I actually used this window and somebody told me that I'd used it the wrong way round. So just so I can make it clear, I've used the window that way round because I want to. Before you tell me that I've done it the wrong way round, it just looks better that way, in my opinion. So yeah, I decided to change the windows up a little bit, and I obviously have used some windows from Seasons just because they're so versatile, and I did feel that the darker kind of wooden shades went really well as well. So yeah, we've got a little bit of everything and anything in this build on the exterior. But I'm just moving on to the backyard now, and again I was very indecisive about what I wanted to do. Luckily for you, because this is a speed build, I managed to edit all of that out, but I messed around with this yard to no end. It took me kind of ages to come to, you know, the final sort of completed look, if you like. So as usual, I've added in all of the activities and skill building items. So we've got a little barbecue area, and we've also got a beekeeping box at the front of the house. We've got obviously the pool in the middle. I've put in some planters as well, and I think there's an easel in there somewhere. So there's plenty of stuff for your Sims to do. I mean, obviously, when I think of a villa and I think, you know, of the outdoor space, I think of a very livable outdoor space because, you know, being in a hotter environment, you're going to spend a lot more time outside. I know certainly my dad, you know, over in Spain spends a lot of time outside just because the heat's so intense. So yeah, but I decided to add in a few plants here, and I think I added in a little pond to the right hand side as well. And yeah, this is pretty much the entire backyard. So with regards to the interior, what I would say is I used plenty of dark wooden kind of items again, which I was a little bit gutted about, really, because obviously the last couple of builds that I've done, I've used quite a lot of dark wooden tones, a lot of natural looking tones, but because of the type of build that this is, I try to go with as many kind of traditional type of Spanish items as I could. Now, it's not completely Spanish, you know, when it came to do the kids' rooms, obviously I struggled a little bit then. I could have made them as guest rooms, but I really wanted this to be a family home, so I did personalise them, and they do look very much, you know, like kiddie type rooms, but I did try to stick to items that had that kind of Spanish feel about them. But as you can see here, I'm actually working on the garage. Now, someone actually said to me in one of the comments a few videos ago, can you do a garage in one of your builds? And I must admit, I did go through a phase where I was putting garages in every single one of my builds, but it's been a really long time since I've done it. And I thought, yes, why not? Let's add in a garage. So I did go ahead and make the garage very sort of garage-like. I filled it with lots of junk because if it's anything like my garage is rammed full of all sorts of bits and bobs. So I thought I would just go with that. It wasn't a dressy garage. It was just full of all sorts of bits and bobs. So I'm just moving on to the kitchen at the moment, and I did spend a while on this kitchen. It was actually not even in this room to begin with either. I was so indecisive about so much of this build, and I think actually it's worth noting as well. I got kind of 3 rooms in, so I did the kitchen, the dining room and the living room before I took a look back at the build and I thought, this just looks too neutral. I wanted to kind of put some colour in there because I kind of felt that the outside of the build was very vibrant, but the inside of the build was just very kind of muted tones. So I did go back and change up some of the wallpapers, which you may not see in this actual build, but you will see in the screenshots at the end. But I did come and put in some pops of colour just to kind of brighten it up a little bit, because I did feel, especially after doing the last lake house build, where I used a lot of browns, you know, I wanted to just bring a bit more colour back in. And again, with the kids' bedrooms anyway, and upstairs, it's a lot brighter too. So downstairs we have the kitchen, we have a separate dining room, 2 reception rooms. Normally I do make one like for the kids, but I made it a bit more of kind of an activity family room. So in there I put like the little football table and a chess table. There was just bits and bobs to do. So it was like 2 separate living reception areas. But I would say that this one that I'm working on at the moment was a bit more adult. This would be like your more formal room because I put the piano in there. But we've also got a separate study area and a downstairs bathroom, and obviously we've got the garage as well. So there's plenty of room in this build. It was actually a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. From the front and the back, I think you would kind of assume that it was quite a small build, but it's not. There's absolutely loads of space in this build. Upstairs, again, is 4 bedrooms, and we have like a family bathroom as well. So I've used plenty of activities and skill building items inside the house. I always put them in because a lot of the builds that I do are very kind of high end. You know, they cost an absolute fortune. So I think by the time your Sims accumulated that kind of fortune, you know, there's a good chance that they're at the kind of, you know, they've got a big family, they're well established, they've got loads of money, loads of simoleons. So I always make sure that I include absolutely everything in the build that you would expect to get in a house that was kind of end game. It's like I'm like an end game realtor. So I hope you've all had a fantastic weekend. I've actually got some exciting things planned for the channel, as well as doing lots of very random builds at the moment. I've decided to do some collaborations on my channel with some very, very special friends that have been a massive support over the last sort of year and have become very, very good friends, and they're also fantastic simmers and builders themselves. So yeah, I would say keep a little lookout for those. I'm really looking forward to doing them. I've got one coming up fairly soon, which should be sort of within the next week or 2. And over this sort of month, I'll be looking at posting a few collaborations. So I'm really excited about those because the people I'm collaborating with, like I say, have been a massive support to my channel for a really long time. So I'm really looking forward to those. But I have to say, that aside, the weekend's been fairly quiet and relaxing, and I'm absolutely over the moon because it's chucking it down outside. It is raining so bad, they've actually given out flood warnings. Now, luckily, where we are, we're not really going to suffer from flooding or anything like that, but it's just been absolutely throwing it down. And I went into, like, I was sat here doing some editing before and I could hear this noise, and at first I thought it was my computer. So I was like listening out and I was thinking, where's that noise coming from? And then I just paused everything that I was doing and I just looked at my husband and I said, is that rain? And he was like, yeah. So I stood up and had a look and it was just coming down thick and fast. So I ran over into my son's room where my son is and I was like, Joe, come and look at this. Look at the weather outside. And he was like, what? I was like, it's absolutely hammering it down. So he got up and he was like, Mum, it's rain, and got back in bed. I was like, yes, but isn't it so exciting? And he was just like, Mum, get out. So yes, I'm still driving everybody bonkers with my obsession with the weather at the moment. But yeah, coming back to the build, I'm just working on sort of the girly type of room. And as you can see, I'm still trying to use lots and lots of dark wooden tones. But here, I'm just trying to inject some colour into the build just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. And obviously, it is a teen room. I didn't want it to be completely kind of muted tones. I did want to add a little bit of colour in because obviously if you've got a teenager, then you know they're going to have lots of colour, and it wouldn't be realistic if I didn't add some kind of personality into it. So this is the second to last room that I've got, which is indeed the boys' room. Now, I did actually do the 2 bathrooms, but I didn't include them into the speed build because they were actually very small. The one downstairs was very small. Although they've got a proper bath and a shower in there, it was quite difficult to sort of get the screenshots in and things like that. So fear not, there is a couple of bathrooms in there. They're just not featured in this build. But the final room that I did, which is this one, is actually the toddler bedroom. And I always put in a kind of toddler room because obviously if you're going to have children at some stage, they're going to be a toddler. So yeah, I always try, as you know, to cater for all Sims of different ages. So I do think this room was quite a neutral room, really. I used lots of greens. It was kind of like green and light bluish themed. So it could be for a girl or a boy. And, you know, there's plenty of space in there as well. So if you wanted to add in, say, a Moses basket, then you could do that because it's right next to the adult bedroom as well. Just whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do to any of these builds is entirely up to you. So I hope you've all had a fantastic weekend and you have a brilliant week ahead. Thank you again to everybody who entered the giveaway as well. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you mainly for 15,000 subscribers. It's just been absolutely amazing. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. It helps me to know that you're enjoying the content. And if you're not a subscriber, it would be amazing to have you on board. But yeah, like I say, have a fantastic week, guys, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.